if I came to you and I said, Joe, here's a column, all the building block players moving forward, list them, and give me some reasons why.
Okay.
Then, Joe, I want you to make another column. All the trading block guys, meaning guys you'd be open to moving because you don't see them in the building block column.
Okay.
So we have the trade block.
And this is Joe.
The building block.
This is Joe and Joe, not Buster Posey.
No.
And,
the team that I'd like to see them field, okay? And so let's go down the list, and you put them in one of two columns.
Okay.
Trade block, building block.
Okay. I want some music. That would be great. I want to feel the energy of some baseball. Could be anything. Could be green onions if you want.
Let's start with the names that are the most obvious based off all of the reporting all year long. Let's start with left-handed starter, Robbie Ray. And the reason why I bring up Robbie Ray is that, he's in the final year of his contract. Robbie Ray this year is 8-6 with a 3.45 ERA. He has started 17 games, technically 18. Remember that game in Atlanta was the rain delay, and he came in after a couple of innings. He's thrown 100 innings, 79 hits. He's got a 1.23 whip with 86 strikeouts and 46 walks. Basically a 2-to-1 ratio right now. He's given up 15 home runs this year. It's not been his best year. He's certainly not awful at all. No. I think he has tremendous value. Do you view him as a guy you want to retain and possibly sign in the offseason, or are you moving?
No, and I was on team move Robbie Ray last year, although I understand why they didn't, because they felt like they were a year offseason away from being a play-in team, but a playoff team, excuse me, because there's no play-in. But right now, you got to move this guy. I think his value right now, he salvaged a lot of it, and maybe it was still going to be there no matter what, just given the nature of the pitching position towards the deadline, especially starting pitching. But he's had an incredible, month of June heading into July, I thought. He had the one stinker against the Nationals, Joe, but overall, I think he's pitched way, way better than what the initial part was. But he's not a piece I'm going to keep around for the future because, quite frankly, he's going to be 35 years old October 1st. And I've already seen some signs of wear and tear on his body. As you mentioned, former guy that had Tommy John surgery. Yes, he has the Cy Young, but he also has the Tommy John. I don't anticipate his career aging gracefully, and I do think this is going to be his max value that you're going to be getting in return. I'd move off of him. He's not going to be a piece I want as a building block for the future. So I'm putting him in the other category. I know.
He makes a lot of logical sense because of what everyone else would want. But I'm not saying that he shouldn't be on the trade block column. But if you were going to make an argument for him on the building block column, you have no pitching.
I know.
In your system.
I know.
And he's had a better year than Logan Webb start to finish.
He has. But do you trust him going forward? Do you trust this guy?
I trust him more than anyone on the staff not named Logan Webb.
I hear you on that. But also, I need to start restocking my pitching for the future and getting some young arms in here because his arm might be a year or two away from falling off.
Joe, do you trust Landon Roop right now?
No.
Do you trust
which sucks?
Tyler Malley? No. Do you trust Trevor McDonald and his 5.46 ERA?
No.
Look, he makes a lot of sense. It's going to suck when you trade him.
No, Joe, it's going to suck when you trade him because you're going to look at that pitching staff and say, oh, this is going to get a lot worse. But you kind of have to take your licks the rest of this season so you can start restocking and repiling this pitching staff. That Joe is so barren right now. The future is so barren.
You might get a comp pick for him, though, if he signs in free agency.
Yeah, I don't think that's set in stone because I have to offer him a qualifying offer, which might be around $22 million, which might be more than what he would get on the free agency market. So I don't know if you're guaranteed to get a comp pick from Robbie Ray.
Okay. But I could get a top 100 prospect for him.
You think?
Yes. Actually, yes. I think I could get a top 100 prospect for him.
Pitching's always in demand at the deadline.
All right, so you're putting him on the trade block.
Yes.
What about you, Sam?
I believe he's absolutely on the trade block.
Carter?
No doubt.
All right, so he's firmly in the trade block. All right, let's go to the next guy. The next most obvious candidate on this team is a guy who signed a one-year deal, Luis Arraez.
Yeah.
He's had a monster season. I think he fits in completely with this team. I mean, just look at it this way, Joe. First in hits by almost 15. Second or third in doubles on this team. Leads the team in triples. A .324 batting average, which leads the team.
Yeah.
a .360 on-base percentage, which leads the team. He's slugging .457, third on the team. He has an .817 OPS, which leads the team. He's been one of the best players, start to finish, on this team. Completely bought in on the staff. 1-year deal. I know he wants an off-season contract. You know he wants to get extended.
Yeah.
I know. He makes all the sense in the world to move. I'm sorry. For me, I want to keep him. He's a building block player for me. I want more Luis Arraez's. I know, I'm in the minority. I sound like a moron. People aren't going to agree with me. I'm bullish on this. I don't want to see him traded at all. I just don't. And I know he can get you stuff back, but gosh, he fits the culture. I know all of your prospects are middle infielders. Ugh.
And the team right now he's been linked most to in recent weeks has been the New York Yankees, who do have a couple top pitching prospects that would make me very excited too. Again, I'm going into this trade deadline, Joe, needing pitching, because that has been the bugaboo of this season and this team all year. And for quite some time, outside of the top three heading into the year that you trusted in Ray, Webb, and Roop. Now I only trust two guys because Roop right now, I'm starting to get a little bit concerned about. Malley and Hauser have been awful. Trevor McDonald, nice little story, but I can't expect much from him. He's got 2 pitches, can't really get a third one, and that's just not going to cut it as a starter. I say all that to say I'm trading Luis Arraez because I actually don't think he comes back in the offseason. If you think you can keep him, why would he look at this team this season and say, I want to stay here?
That's a fair point.
That scares the hell out of me. And then you could potentially get nothing. Again, that is what you cannot have in this situation. That's why they have to pull the trigger. They need to get younger. He's going to be 30 ending into next year. Again, I think he's a handful of good years left, Joe. I do. And I think the work he has put in with Ron Washington has been unbelievable. And other teams are going to notice that. And that's great. I need to get younger, though. Luis Arraez, I love you. You're just not a guy I'm keeping here for the future right now. Even though it pains me to say that, I got to trade you. It pains me. It does. But I got to do it, Joe. Because he's another guy I think you can get a top 100 prospect for.
So you and I don't agree on this. You guys are going to be the differentiators. Okay. Carter, Sam.
I think I'm totally with Spadoni. I think like you found money here as far as like, questionable offseason signing. Some people didn't love it. Some people did love it. And now the guy is, he's kind of peaked, right? He's just doing so well. He could have been an all-star. And if you're building for the future and a new core of guys, he can get you something back. There's no guarantee he's going to sign. I would trade him.
I've always said Luis Arraez is a privilege to have a player like him. The Giants have kind of forfeited that privilege this year. That being said, it's a
good way of putting it.
I would love to have Luis Arraez for the next 3 to 4 years, but the only way I think you can do that, because if you locked him into an extension, then Chapman, Adames, Devers, Arraez, that's your infield for the next of forever, and I'm not on board with that. If you can move 2 of those 3 anchor contracts, as we like to call them, then I think you have a pathway to keeping Luis Arraez.
I'm so scared as you brought that up, Sam. I'm just seeing these injuries right now, and no one's touching that Rafi Devers contract. The bad back with Adames. Now we got the abdomen with Chapman, right?
That's why, if you could somehow clear up your infield a little bit so you don't have all 4 spots locked into veteran players, there you go. But unfortunately, them's the breaks that you're in right now.
No, it's a good point. So we're split on Arraez, Jasky and I.
I think most people have him on the trading block.
To be clear, I have him on the trading block.
Did you want Ray, by the way, real quick? Were you traded Robbie Ray guy, or were you keeping him?
I was just trying to make an argument.
Okay.
I was just trying to make an argument on the other side.
But you're trading. Okay.
I'm probably trading.
Okay. All right. Who's next?
Let's go to Matt Chapman. Oh. Now, he's injured right now.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you're going to end up getting for a guy who's injured, and I don't even know if you can trade him. But Matt Chapman, 84 games played this year. He's batting .235. He doesn't have a stolen base. This is one of the guys who was at the top of the team in stolen bases the last couple of years, which is sad. He's got 7 home runs this year. Felt like they all came in 1 month. 42 RBIs. What do you do with Matt Chapman?
You trade him if you can. Problem is, I don't know if you can. But that's not the conversation. I am trading Matt Chapman.
You don't view him as a building block player at all?
No. He's 33 years old, Joe. And he's hurt. I mean, the writing's on the wall right there. And have you seen Casey Schmitt at third base?
He looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good.
Looks pretty good.
I'll keep him. And that's another guy we'll get to eventually. But Matt Chapman, I am moving off that immediately if I can. You're probably not going to get the value you want back. Again, with a lot of these contracts that are bloated, you're not going to get the right value back. Maybe you don't have to eat that entire salary when you trade him compared to those other two, being Devers and Adames. But I am absolutely trying to field as many calls as I can about Matt Chapman. This injury could not have come at the worst time, though. Let's just keep it a buck, because he had been playing well. I know he'd fallen off a little bit, but man, God, his last 15 games, Joe, prior to that injury, batting just 113, only 1 home run, 22 strikeouts. Yikes. And you got to wonder, had that been propping up prior to that injury happening? I don't know if he was dealing with it.
Is the Chapman decision solely based on Chapman, or is it primarily Willie and Chapman, and you just think Chapman's easier to move?
It's part of that, but it's also part of the age. And just overall, I think he's a declining player. I think it's pointing us in the face that he's a declining player, Joe. He's batting .235 this year. He's gotten injuries. He's had a lot of errors. He hasn't been that elite glove consistently like we've seen in the past, his standards. Yeah, the writing's on the wall with this guy. He's not going to age gracefully. Trade him if you can now, because it's going to be harder next year. That's where I'm at with Matt Chapman. What say you?
I'd rather move Adames than Chapman.
So you're not trading Matt Chapman?
I like Chapman.
You really?
I'm going to die on the Chapman
That's
hill.
actually interesting, because I know you've been a big Casey guy.
I know.
And Casey's best position is third.
Yeah. They don't have a natural shortstop on the team right now at the big league level. They just don't.
Yeah. But those guys can play them.
Not well enough. Yeah. Not well enough. They do have 2 third basemen. They do to make a decision. I would probably keep Chapman and try. I would much rather move Adames than Chapman.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean he shouldn't be on the trading block.
Well, then that brings me to the next guy.
So Matt Chapman should be on the trading block.
That brings me to my next guy then, Casey Schmitt. What are you doing with Casey?
I think there's a huge argument that this is the best you'll ever see of him. I don't agree with that. I think, not that sky's the limit, but I think that there is a ball player in there that you've seen offensively that we've never seen. Defensively, he's played 6 positions for you this year, 5-6 positions. First base, second base, shortstop, third base, left field. He has been incredible value, and he's an elite third baseman when he's able to play there. I think he's competent at the other positions, if not above average.
7 stolen bases.
There also is an argument, like Elliot Ramos, this could be the best that you see. I'll listen to it, but to me, Casey's a keeper.
I'm keeping Casey Schmitt. He is taking over for Matt Chapman, in my opinion. I would like to do that as soon as possible. I get it. It's been a struggle the last few weeks. He's batting just, 175 in his last 15 games, Joe. 11 strikeouts. The slugging hasn't been there like it's been in the past this season. But again, just go back to the overall raw numbers. 92 hits, 17 jacks. He's been one of your most exciting players. He's made incredible plays in the field. They've asked him to do everything. And has he even complained once? Has he complained once? He has been put in very difficult. He was playing first base at the start of the year. You had Matt Chapman, the guy I want to get rid of, so he can play his spot at third base. You had Chapman yelling at him to catch the effing ball. Remember, that felt like the low moment of the season? The first couple weeks.
A week in.
That felt like the low moment. It was a week in.
This is the second series of the year.
He's played first. He's played left. He's played third. You play him. He's like Ben Zobrist, man. You need this guy to go anywhere. He could do it. And he does it with a smile on his face. And you know what? He's kept the energy up. He's a big energy guy in that dugout, and I love him for that. A little quirky. I'm keeping Casey Schmitt. I think he's a guy I want to have for the next, hopefully, couple years if he can keep this up.
He's got to walk more.
It's risky though.
No, but he's got to. He doesn't draw and he walks. He's got to walk more. But from the eyeball, the guy has great at bats.
Yeah. In his last 30 games, 0 walks. 0.
I know.
It's pretty incredible.
All right, we're not done. I think there's more. Elliot Ramos. Is he a building block guy, or is he a trade block guy?
Can I find comparable production offensively from him elsewhere and better defense? The better defense part for me matters in this because he is horrendous with the glove. And quite frankly, the base running too is just not good. Now, he hits it, gets the high average. He's batting 280 this year. He's been an all-star, whether you think it was Fugazi or not. He was an all-star at his best at one point. Kind of you're talking about the Casey Schmitt. Maybe is this a one-off like it was with Ramos once upon a time? I like Ramos. I don't love him.
That's a good way of putting it.
I like him. I don't love him. I think I'm trading him, which sounds insane. I know, given his age, he is only 26. He's going to be 27 this year, around Casey Schmitt's age. He can get better with the glove, though, right? Right?
I thought he would take a bigger leap forward with the glove this year.
How much did that injury hamper that development with him and Wash potentially? See, because that's the thing.
Wash ain't going to help you, track a fly ball. That's on you. You got to figure that out.
I understand that. And that's also what I'm getting at here. If it's not going to work when we've seen the resurgence, and I get it, it's a different position, so it's not like for like the same. But when I see the improvement from Luis Arraez defensively.
What about Jung Hoo Lee and right?
Thank you.
He was not good in center. He's been great in right.
Jung Hoo Lee, when I've seen these significant improvements, and credit to those guys too, because I'm sure they did it in the offseason, not just spring training, and I have yet to see that from Elliot Ramos. There's a disconnect there, and I'm okay with, even if I have to attach him to one of these other guys with a bloated contract potentially to make it more palatable for another team, I might have to do that. And that sucks, but I do it.
Ramos, to me, is very Michael Conforto-like.
Well, that's not a bad comp.
And what I mean by that is that I think if he's your starting player in the outfield, you're always kind of wondering, like, can we do better? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can we do better? Which sucks because he is one of the best homegrown outfielders we've had in 30 years.
Right. It's that guy that's like...
It's crazy.
Well, forever it was who's the left fielder, and it was always the joke every year. And now we got a guy, and then we're going to trade him almost immediately. His
skill set with the rest, if you're going to stick with Adames, and if you're going to stick with Chapman and Devers...
It feels redundant.
Well, he strikes out a lot.
Exactly.
And he doesn't hit over the top enough to offset his strikeouts and his lack of defense.
888-957.
I would have him on the trading block.
888-957-9570. You can join in the conversation here, too. Who would you like to see this team keep and trade as we head towards the deadline for the San Francisco Giants? We're doing that game right now. We are both out on Elliot Ramos, though, as a building block for the future and would try to trade him heading towards this trade deadline. All right. Who's up next?
I think we have some obvious ones that we can just put in the trade block scenario. Harrison Bader.
Gone. I forgot he was even on the team.
I have too for quite some time. And I like the Harrison Bader signing. I was wrong. Are there any relievers that you're looking at and you're saying to yourself, this guy can be moved? Caleb Killian, Matt Gage, Keaton Wynn.
Keaton Wynn if he can come back healthy.
JT Brubaker. I'm just going to run some names up. Like, do any of them have any value on the... You think Keaton Wynn?
Brubaker?
Are we in a position to surrender any bullpen arms when you don't have a bullpen? Well, not that these guys are all great. Like, Keaton Wynn has been one of their better relievers.
If you think it can get, worse than what you've already seen, can it? Can it get worse, Joe? Again, they're already the worst in baseball, so it's it's worse than worse. You get what I'm saying? I don't think it's a problem. Sure, trade them, and then we bring in some other arm, and we'll make it work. That is something I will give credit to Farhan Zaidi. Not that you didn't really ever have a lockdown, closer, and you thought Duvall for a second. He was able to get the bullpen right.
Yeah.
He was able to do that.
Now we'll get to the big one. Jung Hoo Lee. He can opt out after next year. He's having a monster year.
Yes, he is.
He is showing you everything he can be, offensively and defensively. Yeah. I don't want to trade Jung Hoo Lee. Now, and I've been on earlier, I was like, I don't even know if he's a Major League Baseball player. Yeah. I was way wrong on that. He's adjusted. I think being around Luis Arraez has really helped him. He's clearly coming into his own as a defender. I think he has Gold Glove caliber defense in right. You know who he reminds me of defensively in right? Randy Wynn.
Oh, that's not bad.
He reminds me of Randy Wynn. A little better arm than you think, a little better range than you think.
My brother Ray's favorite player was Randy Wynn.
Randy Wynn was really good. He reminds me a lot of that skill set. I think Randy ran a little better in terms of putting pressure on the base. I have him as a keeper. He is a building block player, but a lot of people are saying they can get a haul from him. What do you think?
I'll tell you what I think after I get to Ed and Petaluma, because he has his thoughts on who the Giants should trade and who they should keep. What's up, Ed? You're on the roast.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. Shasky, I love your passion. Hey, there's two things. With Luis Arraez at 29 years old being an all-star player, why would he stay on a team that has no shot of winning for probably the next 4 or 5 years?
I know.
And the second, when you're the worst team in baseball or one game away in the National League West, you have to trade everybody. There should be no sacred cow on this team because with these guys, you're still in last place.
I hear you.
Ed, what about Logan Webb?
You're in last place with Logan Webb. I'm sure he can fetch 2 or 3 players that would help your team more than just him every 4 games or 5 games.
I hear you.
I don't know. That's Ed and Petaluma. That's a tough. That's going to be the one we'll probably get to on the other side. But you asked me about Jung Hoo Lee. I'm keeping Jung Hoo Lee.
That's what I'm saying.
He's been one of the.
Give me one more
He's been
year.
one of the bright spots. And you know what? I don't care if this sounds like shallow. He is a fan favorite, man. Like, I need some sort of fan favorite to
that's
stay on
real.
this team.
Joe.
Like, he is a guy that people will come into. I see the jerseys everywhere. He has the international effect as well. I am keeping Jung Hoo Lee.
Top 8 in baseball in hits.
In batting average, all of it.
average. Like he's killing it.
I mean, they've had 2 of the top 5/6 guys and just average in general. Luis Arraez and Jung Hoo Lee had nothing to show for it, unfortunately.